created my own little algorithms to do one thing or another, like disease states, a mortality algorithm. And
I think you will have a whole levels of robotics, that humanoid robots or non-humanoid robots, whatever the case is.
But the one that I really gravitated towards was Alteryx. Low code, no code, business intelligence stuff, data science, machine learning, things like that.
Audio, the text, and then there's big metaverse buzz. Everybody knows the metaverse.
Another week of AI.
We can utilize that and train AI to aid us in this battle.
Yeah, it's definitely something we should not fear.
Absolutely. And if they do fear it, tell them come talk to me, and we'll get them straight. We'll get them straight down.
Yeah, I feel like we need to have some town hall meetings and invite everybody out and have you there, have you and Bobby Ray there, Brian.
Absolutely.
How do you think, either one of you, how do you think AI can really move things forward when it comes to individual knowledge about cybersecurity and what hacking is? Because I can tell you, you go to any company in the world, and one of the things that people do not enjoy is the cybersecurity training, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How can we re-engineer that using artificial intelligence?
Ladies
I'll
first.
go first. Okay, I'll go first. Because whenever I think of AI, I just think of a skill set that's going to help me be better. So when I think about it, the first thing I would do is I would discover what type of threats have already taken place. And so if I can discover what type of threats have already taken place, then I could presume what is next to come, because it's a buildup, right? Okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay, this is going to happen next. So it sets me up for success in thinking about the best next steps. So if this is how they're going to hack something, then this is how I'll be able to combat it. So it helps put me in position to think outside of the box. If it hasn't been done, that it hasn't been done already, because all of these other things have been done. Like, I feel like historically things repeat itself, and then there's something else that adds on. And so trend lines, if you know the trend line, then you know how to combat that and change trajectory.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Great question.
Well,
what happened to Brian?
Yeah, I know.
There he is.
Brian had to teleport away for a second.
It was a deep fake. It was AI that did it.
Brian, were you here the whole time, or was there AI that was talking the whole time?
Nah, that was me. I kind of put it on sleep mode.
Well, the ethical hacking conversation is beyond exciting because it has the ethics in it.
Yeah.
You can do AI with ethics. You can do digital things with AI and ethically. You can do every single part of your conduct ethically, right? But it allows you to reevaluate. I think Masako pointed out something very powerful. Break the system so you can build it better, right? Because it's not meant to actually stand if it's crumbling all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Break it and let's start all over again. And I think you have to always revise and review what is that we do on a daily life, because we're talking about parents here, right? Everybody here, I think, is a parent one way or the other. So if you have to, reevaluate how it is that you interact with the society, how do you interact around the kids, and how do you raise those kids, and how do you live the next generation with something better than we found? AI is a great opportunity, the gateway into seeing the future and say, if I have to establish any of the futures, given the technology that they need in the future, what technology would I give them? I think AI and the data, the way that we collect data, the way we process data, the way we manipulate those data and serve those data to people, we have a responsibility. That's something that we have to do ethically, right? So those are the kind of conversations that me, Brian, Bobby, Masako, and Lucky will always have offline. But this is our opportunity to bring this conversation live in front of people, so that way people can say, you know what, I don't have time to read or see this kind of digital content hour after hour, because they can on YouTube. But if we can guide them specifically and direct them towards a single conversation to say, this is what's important, I think ethical hacking is on top of my list, right? Hey, I tell a lot of people, like, go after data, right? Go after data. But data is such a broad topic. But when I say ethical hacking, they all of a sudden like, wait a second, what are you recommending here? Why are you saying ethical hacking? That's completely out of the blue. Well, if you watch an ethical hacking video on YouTube for 50 minutes, I can guarantee you will understand why somebody would hack a digital zeros and ones binaries data, whatever that, however you define data. Why would somebody do that? What's the value of data so much that somebody is willing to go to vacation in their early age in life, right? And come back, be pronounced like this awesome guy that everybody wants to hire. Why? What's the value in data? Well, it's not the single data, it's the aggregated data. And having access to those aggregated data means a whole lot to a whole lot of people. Individual, nation state, president of the countries, the one guy who just wants one leg up on top of the other guy who has some data. It's a huge competition happening worldwide, but it's happening behind closed door, behind the silos. So this conversation that we're having behind closed door, we want to kind of bring it out into the open so that way people can start paying attention to not just data, but everything around them, because there's a huge movements around data, and specifically for AI purposes. And ethical hackers are trying to improve that access to that data, who has access to it, who does not have access to it, and who needs to be prevented from accessing that data. There's a whole nother conversation. But having Brian here means that this is what we get to discuss. This is what we get to put a spotlight on, right? And this is the most amazing part of a Monday night. There's plenty to do, Monday night, but this is an amazing part of being on a Monday night. So we tried introducing Andrew Ng's video earlier, but I think I figured out what I did wrong. So I'm going to play it one more time. But Brian, stick around. We're going to wrap this conversation up probably in, say, 10, 15 minutes or so. But let me play this Andrew Ng introduction video here quickly, and then we can come back online soon. Boom. All right, let me know if you can hear the audio there.
Hello,
Yes.
learners. I'm Andrew Ng, founder of deeplearning.ai, and I'm excited to welcome you to our global deep learning community. I know that many of you are here today because you want to break into AI and build your career. I hope that being part of this community will help you to do so. To give you a proper welcome, I'd like to show you around the deeplearning.ai offices and meet some of the teams so that you can see where it all happens.
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Do you want to tell our friends at Pine AI what you do at deeplearning.ai?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I make articles and other media that help people learn about AI and help them understand the huge impact that AI is having in the world. Today, I'm putting together the next issue of The Batch, our weekly newsletter, and I'm looking for the biggest stories of the week to keep our readers informed.
What's been the most surprising thing you've run into working on The Batch?
How much is going on in this field? There's never a dull moment. You might think from the outside that machine learning engineers really understand everything about AI, but nobody understands everything about AI because this field is just coming to life right before my eyes as I put this thing together every week.
All right, I know you're really busy, so I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks. See you later.
Let's go meet Qian, who helped me create the deep learning specialization. He's working on an exciting new project. Hey, Qian. So do you want to tell the people at Pine AI what you're working on?
Yes, sure. I'm leading a project called Workera, focusing on helping people get offers in AI and navigating their career by testing their skills, preparing for interviews and certifying them, as well as matching and referring them to good jobs in AI.
That's really cool. And what's the most exciting part of your day?
The AI field is new. Organizations and jobs are still misunderstood. So I'm excited to help people understand what different types of jobs exist in the field, what tasks they will work on, and what skills are needed to achieve those tasks.
I think that's really important. Well, it's nice chatting. And now let's go chat to Hotel, who is on their product team.
Hey, Andrew.
Do you want to say hi to our friends at Pine AI and let them know what you're working on?
I would love to. Hi, everyone. I lead the product team in deeplearning.ai, where we create AI education content accessible to people all around the world. People like you.
And what are you most excited about right now?
I am so excited to see our community grow and to see how eager people are to learn more about AI.
Thanks, also.
Thanks, Andrew.
So as you can see, our team is working hard to support you and help you learn. It's never been easier than before to break into AI. So if you want to build a career, you can leverage online resources available, including open source code, data sets, papers, and online courses like a deep learning specialization on Coursera. As part of this journey, I hope you get your hands dirty too. Don't be afraid of diving in to build your own project, or go ahead and try to replicate a research paper that you're excited about. One thing that I've seen help a lot of people succeed is if you can build a community or find a community of fellow deep learners you can meet with and study with on a regular basis. In fact, I hope that this Pine AI meetup that you're at right now will be a good place for you to meet these people. I hope you enjoyed the event today and that you learn a lot, both from the talks and from each other. And once again, welcome to the deeplearning.ai community.
I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
I love it. I love it. It's like for everyone. It's for everyone. No one's excluded.
Yeah, well, Brian said it right. And no industry can be excluded from IT industry because there is no data industry. Well, at least not yet. I'm trying to make that happen. We need a data industry because if you can talk about data, you'll see a whole nother perspective, right? Because you see data all around you, not necessarily IT everywhere around you, right? You go to nature, go on a hike in a park, you can see data. You have a night rider car.
Just getting people to understand. That's why when we say data literacy, right? It's like learning the language of data. To demystify that data is something that's so far out that they can't touch, but no, it's right where you are.
You have your night rider car from a dream, the imagination.
Wasn't I shouldn't know the name, but wasn't it Kit?
Yeah. Kit. Okay.
Yeah.
So
when I
imagine you have it.
Yeah, when I think about data as what you guys are talking about, I think of the importance, and it goes back to what Bobby asked the question. How can we utilize AI to help benefit us as human beings? And I think about the school districts, because when I go to school districts and I'm talking to the children about the importance of AI, about the importance of cybersecurity and protecting the data, you'd be amazed that the instructors are just kind of shell-shocked. But I think if we can create a platform to have AI more involved, not in a sense to where it's doing the work for our students, but mainly for our teachers, our educators, our educators from all levels, from elementary to middle school to high school, even college, and even instructors as myself. So I think and Lucky as well. So I think when we talk about data, that's the biggest platform where a lot of data is that affects our children. It affects each and every one of us. So I think having AI to really be able to push that into school districts is definitely something that is needed, and it's there to help and aid the teaching for all of the educators.
So what would an afternoon with all of us look like in a school each school all around the world? Like Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's us, right? We're bringing AI. We're bringing cybersecurity to the school. Are we AyAyAy? Do we have jumpsuits? Like, what are we wearing?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Lucky, we can't hear you if you're talking. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've had the most fun with art and AI more than I've had with any other technology. Like you have generative AI like Stable Diffusion, where I love art. I I like to draw, but that was one of those hobbies that it was just not a hobby, but it was one of those things that it never really, for me, working was more realistic than drawing. But I can take stuff like, I don't know, Vincent Van Gogh, or I can say, look, I want you to draw me a picture of a father and a son fishing. And I wanted it to be in the style of Vincent Van Gogh, and I want them to be catching tuna. I don't know what it is, and then I immediately get a lot of what I want, and I mean, it'll use that type of artist touch in different things, and I enjoy that so much. Being able to visualize a lot of things like that, and Stable Diffusion is one of those things that I've enjoyed. I mean, it's really cool, and I think that people can take advantage of things that they love more with technology like that. Just fall right into it. Do what you love, and then it's easier to access stuff like that now because it's you know I remember as a kid thinking, okay, if I was going to be an artist, or if I wanted to be a professional, I had to go to school. I had to learn how to use AutoCAD or some kind of software that wouldn't have access to, And then now, everything's there at your fingertips and readily available. And so, yeah.
Just to add to what Lucky was saying, I mean, it's perfect that this is a good transition because if you're in a biology class, can you teach biology using AI? Or can you augment the students' understanding of biology using AI? So what it is that you love as a teacher, if you're teaching it, should you include AI as part of your curriculum of the day or the whole quarter, right? Semester. So if you love teaching, how do you augment your teaching using AI? And there's lots of tools out there to help the teachers, because one of the paradoxical things I've seen for the last 10 years in the AI space is that where AI is most successful is where it's least invested in, because there's this contradiction of, we can use lots of AI here, but there's no funding here. And education is that top use case of that, right? So if you look at Department of Education, you look at some of the educational platform, specifically, just think about the professors, how they deny any associations with AI, correct? Like we were seeing that in newspaper all over the place. And on the flip side, if you see lots of money and there's lots of AI use cases, and here they're struggling with those AI use cases. What does that mean? Finance industry. It's so complex for AI to handle financial information because it has a lot of secrecy built into it, a lot of IPs, a lot of difficulties in, the hackers hacking into those information. So you have lots of need for finance industry with lots of money, yet they're struggling with their use cases. But education that doesn't have funding has all the use cases you can imagine. Like, how do you customize a student's understanding of chemistry 101, chemistry 301, chemistry 401? Right? How do you help a Mandarin-speaking Chinese person to speak English fluently? In person, real time, personalize it, capture their inability to say some letters probably, and have an AI detect it in real time and give them the feedback in real time. Imagine teaching somebody English for the first time. They have never spoken English. Let AI handle that, right? So I think there's a lot of use cases out there, and I love what Lucky said about, if you love it, do it with AI.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the key.
I think what you just said is important, which speaks to the need of the difference between a general AI and then custom for you. What does your AI profile look like? That it knows what your best learning methods are and different preferences that you have, so that when you plug that into a larger body of knowledge, you get the knowledge in the format in which you can easily digest it, not the person next to you, right? So once you can establish that, now what are the privacy rights around that so that you feel secure? AI has my information, but it's my information. I can go to different places, to utilize AI, but I'm not selling, I'm not doing the thing that we're doing now without naming any companies, right? Where you got all my information and you're going to weaponize it against me. No. How do I plug in personal AI to a general AI and get what I need for me? How do your kids get what they need for them? Because each kid is a different person. Each child's a different person. with different personalities, different, traits, et cetera, et cetera. How do we connect those things together? We speak about the ethics in AI, but then that's part of it, of course. But let's talk about true customization. What is true customization in AI? Right now, we're having fun with something that's, kind of like a toddler. Don't trust it with too much because it will kill you. I'm just saying. So, and I just say that because I would run scenarios of how to do things in it. And when you gave it an impossible a scenario, it would then hallucinate. So how do we do, well, because we're not just trusting it with ourselves, we're trusting it with our future. How do we do no lie AI? I'm just saying. When it doesn't know, it'd be like, I don't know. So these are things when we think about a future, we're just at the tip, right, of discovery. So it is incumbent upon those out there that, just like us, want to kind of spread the word, be an advocate for people engaging and helping to develop the community that is built around this new tool.
Definitely made me want to learn. The kid in me was like, oh, extreme biology. Making learning fun.
Making learning fun. And I'll tell you one of the things that Bobby mentioned, and this is what I think is the transition into like, hey, let's learn something new right now. Let's share some learning right now. One of the things that I've really seen over the last 3 or 4 years that taken off, but it goes in the bottom of the stack of conversation. Just like right now, we're in this conversation. We are about to talk about something that you probably not heard of, which is that it's personalized. These AIs are personalized to you. Now, if you personalize it beyond what you are told through ChatGPT, how do you even take it even further, right? So when we're talking about personalizing, what if I have a device and that device has AI built into it? And that built-in AI, as it interacts with me, it learns about me, it learns all the information about me, but it never connects to an internet, right? So guess what I'm talking about? That's the best kind. That's the edge AI. That's the local AI. That's the edge AI. And this edge AI is a big push in the corporations because they would like to have their IP information, their financial data, their asset data, all hidden away from the internet. So nobody else has access to it except for people that signed the paper saying, nope, I will never disclose this information, right? But you can have that in your personal life. You can have it inside of your home, in wherever you work, under your desk, literally an AI that has a large language model that you can interact with. And as you interact with it, it learns more information about you. And of course, if you do the research, you're going to find lots of these options to do edge AI. But this edge AI using agentic AI becomes even more powerful. So if you have like multiple of these devices and these devices are doing multiple things, one is handling your finance, the other one is handling your invoices, and the other one specifically talks to your bank only, right? So you have this employee-like agentic AIs that are interacting on your behalf as a personal AI that knows a thief and a thief only. And if it doesn't have anything to do with a thief, it doesn't care. It doesn't interact with anybody, such as hackers, right? Who's trying to vacation into your edge devices. I'll start there because I think that's something that I always share with everybody, because that's never comes up in a conversation because people are not thinking at that age yet. At that stage yet, because they think it's very expensive. It's not. If I give you the number right now, it will shock you. And I can tell you, for it's less than $1,000, you can have these sort of AI that is built just for you. And most likely, you can build it yourself if you have enough data literacy. Let's just stop it at that. So I would like to go around the discussion here and hear your thoughts on what it is that you like to share about AI that most people will say, learn something new today.
I'm going to go last. I gotta think about that.
Well, I'll go first. You brought up a good point, and I thought about it as we were talking a bit. But again, wouldn't it be cool just to have that friend that was always giving you the answer, but just trying to give you the lead? Not so much the answer, but a lead on where you're going to go or what you're trying to get. And I think AI would be great for education and kids. But again, it's what it comes down to. Okay, it's like we get ahead of ourselves. We see the candy, but they don't realize that we're going to get cavities if we eat too much candy. And information can be that for other people, is how do we protect ourselves? That's going to be the big question, is how do we create those, let's say a firewall, because a firewall, everyone kind of maybe understands the technology field, but how do we create that firewall between us and them and say, this is us, this is all information. And right now the algorithm just eats us up all day because they already know what we are and who we are and what we are. But when do we create that division of privacy where with the AI, because it's only going to get worse, they're going to know our sleeping patterns. It's not already through our watches.
The Aura ring.
Yeah, through our watches, But the reality is that we're already feeding into the algorithm, and we need to be to create a level of separation. How do we do that? Through ethical, AI. We've talked about it, but that's something huge, and something that I think that we need to talk about more. But I'll leave it at that. We'll leave that for other conversations. But definitely, AI is. It's a true benefit to mankind and who we are. It just gives us information faster, and the more we have things faster, the better decisions we can make. And that's just the truth. It comes down to that, and I don't think there's a problem with that.
Data-driven decision making. Yeah.
So anyhow, I pass.
Well, for me, I really think about the possibility of personal digital safe spaces, right? Where an AI tool is really a digital safe space where, yes, it has your personal information, it shares your life, and knows what your banking look like, and knows what you're eating, et cetera, et cetera. And then kind of like that guide on the side is like, here's some places where you can grow in financial literacy. I notice you tend to be struggling. Would you like to know how you could not? You know what I mean? Or I noticed that your cholesterol is extremely high. Would you like to know other tasty food options? And that is protected, encrypted at a kind of quantum level where that's just your business. But it's always saying things, or you can say things that you wouldn't say to other people. That book, Everybody Lies, where they looked at all the Google queries, the difference between what people say in public and what they really care about. What if you own that for yourself so you can get honest reflection and then recommendations for resources to help you with the things that you actually care about, that you're actually doing, and not that public persona of yourself. So I'm just really excited about the possibilities that we can get that and not be exploited.
Everyone Lies was written by a former Google social scientist. So, you can imagine him having access to how much data Google consumes and how Google uses it, and what sort of insights you find from the searches that people do on their quote unquote private laptop, right? Because Google is watching. Google is listening into a girl that's searching what she's searching about boys and what the boys are searching about girls. And now we can see a huge delta between boys and girls, right? And that book, I laugh about it, but it is so down to the ground that it's bothering, right? It bothers you to your skin. And it's one of the books that actually lit a fire under me to say, like, any business I ever do in my life, any startup or any innovation will never have data privacy concerns. If it has data privacy concerns, it's not for a thief to do, right? So thanks, Bobby, for bringing that up. So I think Masako wants to go last, but Brian, your turn.
I think for me, it's all about bridging that gap. And we talked about it before, but I think Masako mentioned it. It's bridging the gap from fear to faith. Having faith in what AI can do now, today, what it's done for us, having faith what it's doing now, and having faith of what it will do for us going forward. And I think Bobby touched bases on it. We've only began to scratch the surface of what AI can do. The beginning. We're barely there. So for me, I think it's all about bridging that gap to helping people understand, not to be fearful of AI, but to have faith in what it can do for you, as you guys alluded to.
Yeah. And if you think about what's happening right now, bridging that gap, right? That bridging the gap we talk about on a societal level. We always talk about it from the business perspective alone. If you have a team of 5, team of 50, team of 500, there's so much gap just in your left and right. right? If you think you're the CFO who's going to invent the next AI and you want to invest into it, your problem isn't money. Your problem is the guy who doesn't know enough and doesn't know that he has a lot of gaps in his understanding. So when he nodded his head, yes, we'll deliver this IT. Yes, he will, but it will bleed you cash and you will lose faith in that investment that you just made as a CFO. Now, you take that into the perspective of an HR who says, I couldn't hire anybody for last 30 days because there's way too many applications coming through. They're all AI-based applications. These are not real people. And when I talk to one, well, let me just go ahead and use the excuse here. Not the excuse, but this is a case study, actually. Google revealed that North Koreans are putting in for application from North Korea to be hired remotely to work for a company in US. And they are going through that process and company has no idea. And North Korean person is actually in their roster getting paid.
Wow.
Okay, so let's just put that one story into place. The HR people are feeling the burn. They're like, well, I have 30,000 applications, but they're all AI built, right? I used to get 300. It used to be bothersome. Now I get 30,000. So, but now again, an HR that doesn't know how to talk about AI is going to be your biggest problem because the HR person is looking at it like the world is just going mad and I have no idea how to frame these problems that I have and who to reach out to and fix this problem. And again, you go to a techie and he's going to say, yes, I'll take care of that. The solutions are not necessarily that, white and black, right? There's a lot of gray zones in AI and data space. So like I said, a CFO, HR, they all have to have that gap analysis. And that gap analysis comes from curiosity. I have to be vulnerable enough to say, I have lots of gaps in my understanding. And I can tell you that as a person who's been working in the AI space for 10 years, I have tons of gaps. Trust me, believe me. There's not enough people, like that gentleman in the video said, even a machine learning engineer doesn't know enough about machine learning. And that's just machine learning. That's nothing to do with CFO's job or HR's job or pain point that CEO is facing, right? What if as a machine learning engineer, you ask a machine learning guy who gets paid $350,000 a year to say, listen, CEO wrote an email yesterday, and I think somebody mentioned that earlier. CEO wrote an email yesterday, and 24 hours later, one of our users is able to access that email. What's going on? Why is my CEO's email being published all around the company and everybody can read it now? What is going on, right? The complexities are not that easy to explain, but the time is of the essence. You have to do your gap analysis so quick and so rapid, so frequently that you have to be able to answer these questions quick. I think the faith comes from the fact that you can make your data-driven decision-making faster than previously, because we make data-driven decisions as of now, but we just don't do it fast enough. And in AI space, things that don't move fast gets left behind. And I'm going to leave it at that. But that's beautifully put, Brian. You got to have a lot of faith in yourself, faith in your teammate, left and right, and do that gap analysis to say, yeah, we know we have a gap, but we're working on it.
Yeah. So that leaves me. I feel like the space that I'm in is an accumulation of all of the things that you gentlemen mentioned with regard to me working domestically, working with parents, working in the communities to be of service, to help them understand data literacy, asking the corporations to partner with us for the sake of humanity domestically to upskill our community members to align with them to be able to go into their organizations and work, whether it's, under their roof or working from home, right, in these remote spaces, and taking the opportunity to educate our community members so they can work for these organizations, so that fear doesn't have to be in that space that there are international organizations taking the jobs that are here locally. So really looking out for humanity, saying, hey, I see you, I recognize that there is a gap in knowledge here, and then doing the due diligence to pair people off for them to be able to learn what they need to learn. The first step is with AyAyAy on our podcast, right? Having a transparent conversation with, this is what is happening. what are your best next steps? Well, your best next steps is to, get in touch with one of us so we could have a conversation face to face and see how we can be a service to you and your organization to get you guys upskilled.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Don't go on this AI journey by yourself, and don't have to feel like you're the only one suffering. I always say in the military, if you're suffering alone, first thing you have to do is discover that everybody's suffering, and everybody is suffering alone. Until you meet another person that says, you know what, you're crazy as I am. Let's get crazy, right? So I think, Masako, if people were to reach out to each other, I think the first part of that conversation is to reach out to the left and right? You have to do that gap analysis. However, time is of the essence. So, as you're reaching out for what question to ask, I think this is what I've seen for the last 10 years is that I wasn't able to frame the question correctly, which left me wondering all the time. But over time, that's what has happened, that I got comfortable with the questions that I have because I started framing them in a sort of choppy, blocked off ways that had some relevance to what it is that I need to get done, right? Since this is a learning platform, let's talk about it quickly, is that in machine learning, if you want to be successful, you will never run into somebody called decision scientist, right? But this decision science conversation is literally to help you understand the question. And in machine learning, the majority of success comes from the specific questions that you've asked in your machine learning or your AI journey. Why is that important? It's because 80% of the model in machine learning and AI does not deploy. And that's important to remember. It's not a number that is just, say, a US government number. This is a Silicon Valley number. This has been happening for the last 25 years, where the models that get started to be built and the CFO invests money into it, all of a sudden they go to waste or they get repurposed and they never end up deploying. That's 80%. That's 80% failure into the AI space, right? 20%, exact number is actually 17%. Because it's 83 and 17, that's what they use a lot, right? The 17% is underperforming. So Masako, as you're saying, like, hey, I have a problem, I need to reach out to somebody. You have to manage the expectation of what AI you do deliver and get received is going to be a poor quality AI. Mm-hmm. Over time, you mature it. It's just like a child. It doesn't know how to walk yet, but you have to start in the crawling phase. And that's important to know, because when you're talking to an IT guru, he's going to say, yes, we'll deliver it. Yes, we have it right now. It will work for you tomorrow. Come to us. We'll talk you through the reality of it. This is not the IT world where coding will work perfectly the day after launch. It doesn't work that way. It's opposite. It starts with a poor quality and matures over time, works very well. Where in coding, it works very well the first day, but day 300, you have more cost of fixing it than the time you bought it, right? So the conversation really is very important. You look to your left and right, you ask the questions, but you frame those questions correctly and reach out in a timely manner where you're saving a lot of time, because every day you're delaying your AI journey, you're losing tons of data. And if you look it up in IBM space, they call it AI years. They measure the fact that by the time you're having lunch, you missed out on all the data on breakfast. That's AI years worth of data. And those are valuable data. So they simplified it. But the point is, more data you lose on a daily basis, it becomes that much harder to recover from. So yes, absolutely. Anybody who's looking to reach out, feel free to reach out to any of us. And we probably will frame your question at least at best, right? We're not going to be able to give you the full answer, maybe, because we all have our own subject matter expertise. But it's really important that you learn how to frame those questions correctly and get the right set of data and not wander around about it.
I think we should do the next conversation on how do you decide on data or what is the makeup of data and AI. And I think that'd be a good focal point, and we can kind of figure out each one of our perspectives on that.
Oh, we can do data literacy 101, data literacy 901. Yeah. I mean, how many hours would it take? We'll start at one-on-one and figure it out.
Right. I think here in the infancy, it's important to understand and recognize that right now it's the gold rush, right? Everybody's trying to get on board, but true innovation and true growth and discovery doesn't necessarily happen in this phase. Yes, you have some successes, but next week a new model is released and all your millions of dollars is down the drain. What most people don't know is the importance of the R&D space, the importance of the academic space, because out of academia and out of the nonprofit space where they're sharing information and they're peer reviewing information. If you look at the iPhone, not one piece of the iPhone was something that Apple made. It came from R&D, it came from academia, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, because of the nature of everyone's trying to get top dollar, the real work hasn't really started. They took something that had begun in academia, said we're rich now. You know, I'm rich, and in that space, which is where we're at right now. But you know, but for better for worse, we forgot to really look at what innovation and collaboration truly looks like, and that's the normal cycle, right? Of that storming, forming, and norming. But the norming is going to come in once we have real standards-based stuff, when we return some of the stuff back to people who do the work of R&D because that's what they love to do, not because they're trying to be super rich. So it's in its infancy, whether we realize it or not. And imagine, give it time, what it really can be. But along that journey, it's important for folks like us, common folk, to just really shape what that looks like, to say, okay, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I see what you're offering, but here's some stuff I'm concerned about. I'm not ready for that, but I am ready for this. So, you know, y'all have a role to play.
Yeah.
Great conversation today. Really want to just emphasize, Brian, thank you so much for making the time on a Monday night. AyAyAy for coming in and asking your well-put questions. You know, this is what we will do from now on, is that if you come in and ask us questions, we'll try to frame it offline, because we want to help businesses at least have the insights that they need in order to get started with AI. And I'm talking about any size business, solopreneur, entrepreneur, group of 5, group of 10, or group of 10,000, doesn't matter. AI, anybody can do it, as long as you can understand data and the importance of those data, right? Like you said, data sets. You have to really think through your data sets, because that's the part that doesn't come up in a conversation either, right? That's the part that everybody's just like, what's AI? And who's going to do data? Nobody's going to do data. You have to do data. If I do it, that's not your AI. That's my AI, because I just stole it from you. So next conversation we'll have, I think we'll have lots of topic to discuss, and I'm looking forward to, really am excited about, you know, discussing military guys that are in uniform right now, how to transition out of military uniform into a civilian role that will have AI in it, and they will have to have enough data literacy to engage with those AIs. We will talk more about you know, subject matter expertise like Bobby's, you know, talking about the architecturing data, right? Architecturing those data. So that way, when you're speaking about AI, you can speak with the correct terminologies, right? That's important. But, you know, Brian, a soft spot in my heart is for ethical hackers. You know, we will talk about ethical hacking, and we will have the subject matter experts break those down. And of course, Masako, you know, we were talking about business. We were talking about how to start a business, how to run a business, and how to use AI for that. So each of this conversation requires their respective time. They need to have a lot of unpacking and unfolding, and that's what we will do. So with the support of AyAyAy, with Andrew Ng and deeplearning.ai, I'm really am excited. And if you are looking to continue with this discussion, join us every bi-weekly conversation. But in between those bi-weekly conversation, you can sign up for Coursera. And if you're interested, you can reach out to me. You get 60% discount through AyAyAy, through deeplearning.ai for Coursera. And also, if you're interested in just learning about AI, but you don't want to pay, you go to deeplearning.ai and you get a lot of content for free as well. And of course, there's always YouTube. So any reference that we make, feel free to research that and look that up on YouTube. There's lots of ways to unpack it. So Any departing thoughts and words, guys? I know it's late at night, but I'm looking forward to the next conversation, and we'll set that up and talk about it a little bit more.
I just have a statement for all parties listening, no matter where you are. Be limitless.
There you go.
AyAyAy. That means we had an exciting time. My energy is up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night, y'all.
Good night.